There's something most guys your age are carrying around and never saying out loud. Not because it doesn't affect them, because it feels too normal to question. And I want to ask you something before we even get into it. When was the last time you felt actually sharp? Like genuinely clear-headed, motivated, present, not dragging yourself through the day? Because I used to feel that way, and then slowly I didn't. And for the longest time I couldn't figure out why. I kept pointing at everything around me. Too much going on, not enough sleep, wrong environment. But the real thing? I wasn't even looking at it. It's lust, the habit of it. What you do alone, on your phone, when the day gets quiet and there's nothing pulling you forward. And I'm not here to make you feel bad about it. I genuinely mean that. I'm here because I think most people have no idea what it's actually doing to them under the surface. Here's what I noticed in myself first. It wasn't some big dramatic shift. It was just things started feeling heavier than they should. Tasks I used to just do started needing more convincing. Conversations felt like more effort, and I'd finish a day and feel like I'd done nothing, even when I had. Have you felt that? That specific kind of tired that isn't really about sleep. That's your brain after months of being handed dopamine on demand. Because every time you go to that habit, your brain gets exactly what it wants, fast, effortless, no resistance. And after enough of that, real life starts feeling slow. Things that used to feel rewarding just don't hit the same. Not because those things changed, because your brain recalibrated what reward means. And then something else happens that I think is even more dangerous. You stop trusting yourself, not in one big moment, just slowly, in the background. You say you're done and then you're not. You say tomorrow, and then tomorrow comes and goes. And every single time that happens, some part of you is keeping score. And after a while, you stop making promises to yourself because you already know you won't keep them. That's not a personality thing. That's a pattern that built up over time, and you can unlearn it. But you have to actually see it first. So where does it even come from? Because most people think it just shows up randomly. It doesn't. It almost always starts with something small, a thought early in the day that you brush off because it doesn't feel serious yet, and you move on. But that thought doesn't leave. It just waits. And then later, when your day gets unstructured, when there's no plan pulling you somewhere, when boredom kicks in, it comes back louder. That combination of idle time and an unaddressed thought is where almost every single slip actually starts. Not at night, way earlier. I remember the first time I mapped this out for myself. I thought I had no control over when it happened. And then I started actually tracking what the day looked like before, and it was always the same. Empty afternoon, no real direction, phone in hand. It wasn't random at all. It was completely predictable once I started paying attention. So how do you actually change it? Because here's what doesn't work. Sitting in your room trying to white-knuckle your way through the urge. That battle is almost impossible to win on your own terms in that moment. The urge is too loud, the habit is too familiar, and your brain already knows exactly where it's going. You can't think your way out of it in real time. What actually works is you don't give it the conditions it needs to survive. The second you feel that restlessness, that pull toward doing nothing, you move. Not eventually, immediately. You get out of the environment. You do something physical. You call someone. You change the situation completely because the habit is tied to a place, a time, a mental state. Disrupt any one of those and the urge loses most of its grip. And then longer term, you need your days to actually have something in them, not a perfect schedule. Just enough that there's no 2-hour window where your brain is left alone with nothing to reach for. Because when your life is genuinely full, even in small ways, lust stops having room to grow. You're not fighting it, you're just not giving it space. And that's the actual shift. It's not about becoming a different person. It's about building a life where the old pattern doesn't fit anymore. Day by day, small decision by small decision. When you're bored and you move instead of scrolling. When you feel the pull and you leave the room. That's what changes the track you're on. So I want to ask you straight, what does your average afternoon actually look like? Because that's usually where the answer is. Drop it in the comments, and if this hit something for you, you already know what to do with that.